Hey guys, how's it going? Doing this live session with Saquon right now. So I'm going to send him the link, set up this room, and then we'll get started if you guys want to sit in on this. So let me just get this room set up real quick. All right, let me just finish this up real quick. I think we should be good. So while the room's setting up, let me send this link out to Saquon real quick so we can hop into this. Copy that right there. All right, cool. Looks like we're pretty much good to go. I'm just waiting for Saquon to show up real quick, and then we can get started, guys. Having a bit. Hey, Saquon, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. How's it going?
Cool. What's going on, man?
Not too much, man. Trying to catch these trades, but it looks like everything's kind of moving crazy. I don't know if you caught any of these today, but some people caught the 30, and it's just
Yeah, I can't even touch US 30 right now, man. It's too volatile for me.
yeah, man, it's moving crazy. Like I'm trying to hop into something, but I'm not trying to hop in at the wrong time, because sometimes you hop in and it goes the complete opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean, man. I'm on that Nas wave right now, so I'm trying to stick to that. Yeah, until I get comfortable with Nas, and then I'll probably move up to US 30.
US 30, nice. Yeah, that's good. I seen some pretty good moves with Nas. I don't know if you were looking at it, but I was looking at it this morning, and there was actually some pretty good entries that came up with Nas like throughout the day.
Right. I've seen some too, but because I'm trying to implement your K2 snipe strategy, it's kind of difficult for me to catch some good entries and whatnot. So that's why I'm on this Zoom call with you so I can get a better understanding of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So did you start applying it yet? Or do you have anything that's specific that you're confused with? Because if there's something specific, we could knock that out. But if you want to just go over it in general, we can do that too. It's just really up to you.
Cool. First I would like to go over the general, the principles for it, so I could just make sure that I have a clear understanding of it, and then I look at it. I got a couple of examples that I was like kind of iffy about should I have jumped in or not.
Gosh, all right, cool. So I'll put the requirements right here real quick. So first you want to confirm the wick rejection off the K2 pivot.
Okay.
Next, you just want to confirm wick rejection off K2 SR zone. And then lastly, you just want to confirm pivot wick rejection not touch candle body. That's pretty much it. After that, you can enter on the open of the following candle. Your TP stop loss is going to depend on the pair that you're trading. Like for NASDAQ, I don't trade NASDAQ, so I don't really know what the sweet spot is. I know for US 30, because that's all I trade, I know the sweet spot for that's like 500 pips. Depending on NASDAQ, I'm not sure if you understand, how much, what's the new normal range for NASDAQ for the scalp moves? Because for US, do you know?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm thinking like around, I think you mentioned like around like 200 to like 300, if I'm not mistaken. I think I heard you say that one time.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Because if I look at this entry right here, so I'm going to use this for an example because this is an actual entry right here. You can see that the first requirement was met right here where it says confirm wick rejection off the K2 pivot. So this just means any pivot. It doesn't have to be all of them, but this one's actually a perfect entry right here because it actually rejects off pretty much all the pivots.
Right.
So it gives you that better confirmation. This doesn't happen all the time, but this is just it happened to happen today. So this would be a good example right here. So you have the wick rejection off the pivot. You also have wick rejection off the K2SR zone. It doesn't necessarily need to push out of the zone, but it just needs to have the wick pushing off the zone. So it kind of confirms it's like a bumper move basically. So price kind of came down, it bumpered off the pivot and the zone. And then that's a double confirmation basically.
Gotcha.
So after you got those two right there, the third requirement is just that the pivot wick doesn't touch so if the pivot is if the wick is rejecting off the green pivot, you just got to make sure that that green pivot doesn't come up and go through the body of the candle, because that's just going to indicate that it's not a strong enough rejection. Like,
Okay.
let me see if I can find an example over here. So this, let me see, this is probably, let's see. I know there's got to be an example here somewhere. Let's see if I can find one. So basically, I mean, this isn't a clean example, but it's kind of similar to what I was. Let me see if I can find one here. So for example, here, just like you can see how like this green pivot right here kind of cuts through the body of these candles right here.
Right.
So, I mean, this isn't a perfect example because it's kind of hard to find right now because everything's kind of bouncing around. But for example, you just don't want this. Like if you're counting this wick rejection off this this candle right here, for example, this red one, you just want to make sure that that pivot isn't going through the body. So if it's going through the body, it wouldn't be a clean rejection. You want it to be clean, like this right here. This green candle is rejecting off this yellow pivot, and the yellow pivot isn't touching the body at all. So that's
okay. So I noticed, like, you see the green pivot is going through the candle. That's fine, but because it's rejecting off the second level pivot, that's perfectly fine for entry.
exactly, yeah. So you're only focused on the pivot that it's actually rejecting off. You don't, if it's rejecting off the yellow, you don't have to pay attention to the green, orange, or red. It's just that one specific pivot. So here's an example right here, actually. So this red one right here, you can see that it's it's rejecting off the red, but it's cutting through it. So in that situation, you wouldn't take this trade. You just want to, you kind of want a clean rejection. Sometimes it'll be so close where you can't really tell the difference, and that'll just be a risky trade. You can still take it, but it's going to be risky. Kind of similar to this right here, this red one. You can see it's rejecting off the orange, but it's really close. Like it's really close to it.
Right.
So it's just going to be like, it's a judgment call depending if you think it's risky or not.
Gotcha. I think the thing with my problem was when it would reject off the pivot, I was kind of like, all right, the next step is to confirm the wick rejection off the K2 SR zone. So I was like, oh, man, if the candle is within the zone, do I take the trade? Even though if it's in the zone, do I still take the trade or do I not take the trade? That's what was confusing me too, as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's a common question for a lot of people. A lot of people think that it needs to be like pushed out of the zone right here. But that's not exactly what needs to be necessary. It's just that it rejects off the zone. So kind of similar to, like, this is actually a clean one right here because the body's up above it. So this is like a perfect entry. Like if you line this up, you're like, all right, it rejects off the wicks. I mean, it rejects off the pivot and it rejects like out of the zone. So this is like a really clean entry. So, you just got lucky that we came across this one. But most of the time, they don't really come out that smooth. Let me see if I can find like another example that's not as smooth.
So does it have to close out the zone? Could it be in the zone? Can it close in the zone?
Yeah, exactly. You close in the zone. You just want to have that rejection. So let me see if I can find
cool.
So I think we have one. Yeah, it's kind of hard to find them right here, but I guess this is kind of one right here where it oh yeah, so like right here, this green one right here.
Right. I
This
see.
right here.
See what
So
you're
it's rejecting off the pivot, but you can see that the candle is still within the zone right here. That's completely fine. You just want to see the rejection off the zone, or like, rejecting within, like the wick is basically going through the zone because it's just confirming that price is trying to push outside of it.
Gotcha.
And for that confirmation, it's a secondary. The most important one is the rejection off the pivot. So that's number one. The secondary confirmation would be rejection off the zone, but it doesn't necessarily need to break out of it. It could be within it. It just needs to push off it. So if you had this right here, you would just take that trade right there, and obviously you hit TP off that one.
So you see how when you place your long position for the entry, just in general with Nas, you see how it says 44 or whatever the case may be. I noticed for US 30, yours is just the points. It just shows you put 50 and that's it. You're automatically, we know that's 500 pips automatically. So I noticed that's a difference between Nas and US 30.
Oh yeah. Because for NOS right here, it's this is the actual indice because we're using Awanda data for this one. I don't know if
Hmm.
there's currency.com data, but this is just what I have set up right here for US 30. We use currency.com data. So what they use here is the actual future data. So these are actually points. Like when it says 80 right here, these
Hmm.
are these are points. So if you want to turn that into indice pips, then you just add a zero to it. So it says 80 there, 80 points, but in reality it's
Right.
800 pips. So you just
800
add
points.
zero.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got you. Got
that's why I
you.
was a little confused with what the range would be for Nasdaq because I don't trade it normally, so I'm not sure like what the sweet spot would be. But
I think with the I think the same concept is you add an extra zero. I think
oh
you
gosh,
well, I think you would have to add an extra zero because whenever I was putting like 50, the 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 long position it would be so close together. But then when I add the extra, I would say one or two zeros, it will open up so wide, and I'll be like, okay, maybe 500 is the 5,000 equates to 500 pips.
exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's a trial and error type thing. You kind of got to mess with it, see what looks proper, depending from which indice you're trading. Because I know a lot of people in the group they trade like all the indices, and I only trade US 30. So when people ask me questions for like the Spain 35 or the China
Hmm.
50, I'm like, I don't know, bro. Honestly, I
Yeah,
never
right,
even
right.
looked at those before. But they used it on them. Like people in the group are like from Australia, some people from like Singapore, so they're trading their own indices and
She's
it
right.
works all around. So I'm like, if it works, I mean, just keep using it. Just figure out, what that sweet spot is, depending on what you're
That's
trading.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. That you came up with a system that can trade against so many different pairs, currency, indices, metals,
Yeah,
whatever you name it, it just works with it all. So big ups to you for that, man.
yeah, but it's crazy because I've been applying this for a while now, for like a couple of years now, where I was just using the pivot rejections. I didn't add the
Hmm.
zones to it until probably like last week of December. Like I was playing with it and I was like, man, this is crazy. Like it actually works. And then I
Right,
just kept applying it. And then by like first week of January, I was like, man, this is crazy. Like it really, really works.
it
Cause
really works.
like, I was locking in like some crazy profits. So I was like, I might as well share with the team. And
Right,
everyone,
right.
like, once I introduced it, like, it's still brand new that I haven't even created a video explaining it yet. But people started using it and they started using it on their own thing. Like if they like trading Forex, they use it on Forex. If people like trading other indices, they use it on there. And it was cool because I started to realize that it actually works on everything. It's not just US 30. So
Nice.
it's pretty crazy that
Yeah, that
that
is crazy.
yeah.
Nah, I mean, but you explaining it to me right now with the simple rejection off the pivots. Like, okay, so I'm on Nas. I'm looking at what is this? 11:40 my time, so that'll be 3 hours back for you. It'll be 11, 10, 9, 8. I think about 8:30.
8 o'clock. Okay, so
Late
8:30.
11, so 8:40 your time.
I think that's when we were just looking at, right? The
Was it?
one right here.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, was it? I think so. Where it went through all three. No, this particular candle, it goes through all three zones, all three pivot points. The
Okay.
wick is so strong.
Let's see. I think it might be that one that we were just looking at. 8:40 my time.
Yeah. So that is. Yeah,
Yes.
it is
Yes.
actually the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So being at that. Okay. So we're gonna use that example. So being that it went through all three zones, that's perfectly fine because it rejected off all four pivots plus the zone. So the next candle, you'll jump in for the long position and just ride it up.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So here's one thing to keep in mind too. Like when you're trading around here, like 6:30, when the stock market opens, you kind of
Hmm.
want to be careful. I usually don't trade like within here, like 6:30 a.m. my time. That'd be 9:30 your time, because you
Right.
can see here that the market's going crazy, right? It's bouncing back and forth super quick. So usually, I don't take that opening candle, and if it starts to continue to move crazy, I wait for it to smoothen out like it did right here, because you can see that's a huge difference. Like right here, it's just back and forth wicks.
Yeah.
And then as it moves this way, it starts to kind of smoothen out, move normally. And then I would take this right here. This is about like 2 hours after market open. So you should be fine right there. But
Right.
this is just something that I want to make you aware of because a lot of people take the opening candle or they take a candle like right before it.
Hmm.
And you can see that this spikes back and forth
Right.
like 700 pips. So you would get kicked
Pips.
out of this trade, like regardless if you were, you might have hit TP or you might have gone stopped out, just depending if you were lucky or not, if it was pushing up or down at that time.
Yeah, I actually got burnt this morning off of that.
Oh,
I
you went
seen
through
it.
that?
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, why did I jump into this trade? Why did I even mess with 9:30, the opening of the market? I thought I could, handle it, but
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna go one way, it went the other way, and then I
and then it came
jumped
back.
out. Yeah, and then it, I jumped out, jumped back in, and it got me good. So I was like, you know what? Never again am I gonna touch 9:30. I'll wait until I see a clear, indication of which way the market is going before I jump in.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you do want to trade, you can trade before the market opens because sometimes you'll see right here that there's a couple entries before the market opens. You could probably
Right.
trade until like 9 o'clock. Once it hits 9 o'clock, I would just close out of the position, whether it's in profit
Got
or
you.
not, because you don't want to get caught on the market open where it just spikes back and forth. And then,
Right.
I don't know if you want to test your luck. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just get out.
Nah, you know what? Because I'm still new to the strategy. I'm not
Mhm.
even gonna test my luck. I'm gonna just wait till everything calms down. That'll probably be like 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock. Then
Exactly.
I'll
Yeah.
see what
Yeah.
I could grab from there.
Exactly. Because when the market's moving smooth, there's a lot of entries here that you can take. It's just when the market starts to move crazy, that's where you get kind of caught in a mess
Right.
because it's moving so fast that you don't even know. Like the thing is, it could be going your direction, but it could just pull back, right away before it actually goes in your direction, where you end up,
Right.
yeah.
So my next question to you is, all right, using the K2 momentum signal. All right, so going to looking at 10:10.
Okay.
That's 10:10 my time. Your time it would be what's that? 10, 9, 8, 7, about 7 o'clock, I think it is.
Yes,
Yes.
17. Okay,
7:10 your time.
there we go.
So I got that. I seen that last night, right? And I was like, man, I'm kind of nervous. I want to take it, but I'm not 100% sure. Um, the next candle, being that it opened underneath the K2 pivots,
Hmm.
and it barely, I would say it touched it, like the green pivot touched the body of the candle. Would you have taken that trade?
Is it this one right here, the 7:10 a.m. or at night?
At night, PM. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay, okay, okay. Let me
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back.
yeah. So we're going back. Yeah,
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. I'm not really good at this military time. I think it's like
yeah. I got you. I got you.
seven. I think it's like eight. Is it 18? Subtract
1910 would be the military
Oh,
time.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
I get
So
you. Yeah,
yeah, right there.
perfect,
Yeah, yeah,
perfect. Okay, let me 1910 right here.
yeah.
So this wouldn't be an entry just because it doesn't reject off the zone because it needs to reject.
Uh-huh.
Well, let me rewind this. Maybe there's a zone there at that time, but I just don't have it on here. Let me see if I could just
Yeah, on mine there's a zone there, and the candle is basically in the zone, and the K2 pivot is like nicking pretty much nick like on the body of the candle.
gotcha. Okay, let me see. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it doesn't show up on mine. I'm not sure if you're using a different.
Oh, you know why? Because I have what do you use on Owanda? I'm using Nasdaq on FXCM, so maybe I
Oh
need
yeah,
to
yeah.
switch.
I think FXCM. That's um, I like. Well, actually, it might be fun. Let me just go on there real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I used to use FXCM before.
Hmm.
Let's see, NAS is a symbol NAS 100.
Yeah, it's 100.
I swear it doesn't show up on mine.
Oh,
Unless you're using Global Prime. I only see
nah,
Global
my
Prime as one.
yeah, it just says hold on, let me see. Let me double check on mine. Now it's 100.
Yeah, because if you got the symbol, I could just type it in and it'll probably pop up.
You know what? It doesn't show up on mine either. That's kind of weird.
Okay,
That
that's
is,
weird. Yeah, because I
that's
only see
yeah,
Global
that
Prime in Awanda. That's why we use Awanda because when I looked it up, this is the only one that I found like back then.
yeah. So you know what? I'm about to actually switch to Rwanda and get off FXCM because that probably would have been I mean, I would have won the trade because of the simple fact of is a downtrend, and it's 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 pushing heavy off of the zone that I see here based off of FXCM.
Unless the time is different. Do you know if it's that right time? Because there's one entry right here. Actually, it's a red candle. It's rejecting off the pivot and the zone right here.
Nah, this one is 22:10. Yeah, you're 3 hours behind, so you would be 7:10. Yeah, 7:10 p.m.
Yeah, it should have been there. But yeah, I guess if there was a zone there, just using that for an example, if there was a zone there, this would have been a good entry right there because it would have. Oh, because you're talking about the green candle, right? You said it was cutting into the candle.
It was cut. The pivot was cutting like it was like nicking the candle.
Hmm.
I guess you would say it's cutting into like touching the candle or whatever the case may be. And I know you want to clean, no pivots touching anything at all. So I was kind of iffy about taking the trade.
Yeah. So for this one right here, this is actually a good one because, like I mentioned earlier, you just need to catch the rejection off the like the farthest pivot. So the
Right.
rejection was actually off the orange one. So you could ignore the green and yellow down here, even though it's touching the
Gotcha.
body.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Cool.
So technically that'd be a good one. So if you did take that right there, and then you were saying that sweet spot like 200 pips, I believe. If it was
Yeah.
200 pips and you let that run, straight to TP like within like a minute or so.
Right. Also, you know what I noticed about with the pivots?
Hmm.
That green that green pivot kind of dictates which way the market is gonna go.
Oh,
Cause
exactly.
I noticed that when it cuts into when it crosses the other pivots, it
Oh, the
basically
yellow.
tells you, it basically tells you which way the momentum of the market is going. And I was like, oh, that's pretty dope.
Oh,
That
exactly.
if
Yeah.
it yeah, if it I was looking back at what's this 2210, right? Same one. I was looking back at it on this particular candle. The green pivot cuts over the orange pivot or the yellow, whichever color that is. It cuts down into it, and from there it just stays underneath the remaining pivots, and that was it. Like that was the downtrend of the market, and I was like, oh man, I could have jumped in there too. That was basically a confirmation for me. Hey, if I can't get it based off of using the rejection off the pivot or zone, your pivot indicator cuts down and it just tells me like, hey, that's a valid trade for me because that's a confirmation for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So the funny thing is before when I used to swing trade a little bit, what I would do is
Hmm.
I would just hide the candle, but I would do this. And then I would just look at this right here. You see when they
Oh, right,
cross
right,
over?
yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
So you just cross over and I just take a trade. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let it run until it ends up, crossing back
right.
over. And you could literally just take this trade right here, like not even looking
Hmm.
at the candles if
And exactly.
if you just want to write it. Because like the way that these pivots work is the red one is the last one, right? So that's gonna be the laggy one. That's gonna be the laggy pivot.
Right.
And the green one is the indicator. That's the one that's telling you where the quick moves are happening. So like basically when you
Gotcha.
see the red crossover all of them like
Hmm.
this is going to indicate that the trend is going to come down super heavy.
Right.
So if you catch this right here where it crosses over, you can literally, see that big move right there. You could just like once you see it cross over like that, you can just enter
Hmm.
a short position right here and then just ride that wave pretty much.
Oh man, that'd have been crazy.
Yeah, because this is what I used to do when I used to swing trade. Like you
Right.
can literally just keep following it. And what I do is I move my stop loss and
Right. You just
I
trail
trail
it.
it. Yeah, I trail it with that red pivot. So whenever it goes down like this, whenever
Hmm.
it ends up swinging back up, like for example, you could have caught like massive move right here, and then you just keep following it until like right here where it crosses back up, you just get kicked
Hmm.
out off it. But at that point, you already locked in like damn, you locked in like
Massive.
100 and something pips at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because these indicators, I mean, I've used them in so many different ways, and there's a lot of
Hmm.
different ways to use them. Like, I haven't explained how they all work because it's
Hmm.
all kind of in my head because I created these like when I used to see patterns in the market.
Right.
That's why I created these indicators because I was doing all the work, like all the hard work, like in my head, and I was like, I got to figure out a way to simplify this. So that's when I created these indicators to basically show me what I was looking at in my head, so I can explain to you guys too, because it's hard for me to explain stuff just by looking at the candles.
Hmm.
And that's why I created, all these indicators like the zones right here. Obviously, people can create these own zones themselves, but I saw that I kept like making mistakes, because support resistance can be anywhere, literally. And
Exactly.
and what I did was with this algorithm, I had my coder create where I could pinpoint exactly where price rejects from. Like these zones only get created if price is rejected off that same exact price point more than twice.
Right.
So it's got to be like, if it's like like 13,000, it's got to literally reject off 13,000 more than twice in order for
Twice.
there to be a zone right there.
Gotcha. No,
Yeah.
that's dope. And my last thing, and I'm pretty much done because I have a better understanding of how to catch get in, and get out the market. That Asian strategy with Kyle yesterday.
Oh,
That
that thing,
that's
that thing's
heavy,
nice.
man. That's
That thing's
heavy.
nice.
That is heavy, man. That is
Yeah.
heavy. I don't, yeah, I know y'all haven't worked it out yet, but say the market opens for Asian, you get a momentum. I think I asked this question earlier. You get a momentum signal, and then maybe like 2, 3 candles later, another one comes up for the opposite direction.
Gotcha.
Like, how would you handle that in a
So
trade?
from like my quick back test, I didn't really look at it in detail, but just looking at it, um, it works the same way in like all the other sessions. Let me just pull up US30 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna knock this out right here, turn on the momentums. Yeah, so like you were mentioning, just turn on the session breaks. All right, cool. So the session break is, let's see if I can update this, make it a little thicker. There we go. Yeah, so like for example, right here, like you were mentioning, if you get the sell signal and then it gives a buy,
Right.
usually, so there's another strategy because you're new here, so you didn't see what I like created before as well. Because there's actually another strategy that kind of ties in with this as well. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed this, but like if like we usually take the opening candle like after the market opens, if
Mm-hmm.
this previous candle closes below the previous one, so like for example right here, this is where the buy signal is, and if
Mm-hmm.
this one closes below it or it crosses below it at least, then that would indicate that momentum is like going to be a full swing downwards. So like how you mentioned, this one right here didn't close
Oh, that's
above.
cool. That's cool.
So
Okay.
this didn't close above this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have to close above or cross above here to indicate that momentum is going to swing back in that direction.
Got
So
you.
since it didn't, um, this is just it's off topic, but if you were to look at this is just another way to look at it. If it doesn't close
Mm-hmm.
above there, this would indicate that this is just a small little retracement or pullback.
Right.
As you can see right here, that the next one, this red one, actually closes below. It crosses below this green one, right?
Right.
So you can see that the momentum swings all the way back down.
Oh man, I'm glad you just explained that to me because I was trying to figure it out. Like, okay, I want to continue to trade. Like, how do I continue to trade without thinking that that green momentum is going to be a reversal in the trend because it pops up. So I'm like, okay, if it reverses, then man, I just I mean, I locked in good profit from the previous, but I wanted to continue to keep going down.
Exactly, 100%. And it works the same way. Like even right here, this red candle is right here. So this green one, this green signal didn't cross above, that red one over here. So it just indicates it's a small little retracement. And then you can see
Hmm.
that it actually fulfills over here because this red one doesn't end up closing below this green one. So then we wouldn't take that sell, but you can see this green one right here actually closes above this red one. And then this thing just, ends up skyrocketing from there.
Right.
So
That's
it's
what's up.
just, it's something that you could add to your analysis if you're like kind of not sure, if it's going to be an actual momentum candle or just a retracement candle. Because generally, if
Mm.
the momentum is strong downwards or upwards, and you get an opposite signal, if it's not pushed up far enough, like for example, it hasn't crossed the previous one, odds
Right.
are it's probably just a little retracement. It's going to
Mm.
continue down.
Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
but looking at the strategy right here, like I mentioned, uh, basically what we use is a 750 pip a range. And then if it ends up stopping you out, like for example here, and obviously this would hit TP. I think we had a bad one. I think we had one. So these all hit TP, I think. I'm looking for the one that didn't hit TP. Yeah, so that
Right.
hit TP right there. Because that thing, yeah, this one hits TP too. Because generally the way that the strategy works is, so this is when the market closes. I'm sure when like the swap spread happens, right?
Yeah.
So basically, when the market closes and it reopens, this is usually an indication that the institutions are pushing price that direction for the next day. So, like for
Right.
example, here we see that first signal, and then it
Hmm.
pushes up that way. Same situation here. First signal, it keeps pushing that way, and same with this right here, it just keeps pushing. Um, so that's why we go with that. But obviously, you can see this is the bad one right here. Actually, this one right here, the signal pushes up, and then with that range, we just have 75 or 750 pips. Yeah, I'm sure you saw when I discussed it, right? So like when it hits stop
Yeah.
loss
Yeah. I
like
seen
that,
it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just I just end up hopping in the opposite direction, like right there. for example,
Mm-hmm.
for a
For the same
sell.
amount of pips, right?
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of tricky. Like in some situations like this, if we end up losing, well, since it's a new strategy, because right here it loses both ways. So I got to figure out a way to change that. I think if this happens like that, instead of hopping in right away, I would probably wait for that opposite signal, like right here.
Yeah, I
And
was thinking I was gonna suggest that to you. Like, would it be better to wait for the next signal to pop up?
yeah, that actually makes sense to do that. Because I haven't even back tested this at all. It was just an idea that Kyle brought up yesterday. So when he brought it up, I was like, this is actually pretty solid.
Right.
But yeah, now that you brought it up, that's actually a good idea because I didn't even think about that either. But it looks like, yeah, that happens right there. Let me see if we can find another bad one. It's hard because like it's crazy when you find something that works. Like you kind of want to look for something bad, like a bad trade, so you can see what
Trade.
went wrong.
Right.
But yeah, actually, this is pretty solid right here. Like for right here, this stops us out down here. But
Mm-hmm.
like you mentioned, we already had the sell signal right there. So if we had that, I think we could just enter right away. When you get stopped out, and then just keep on riding in that direction.
Yeah, you see how it doesn't hit TP right away. So with that, and keep that in mind that it doesn't hit TP right away. So would you trail your stop loss? Keep going, keep trailing it, or just let it ride until it hits the 750?
Yeah, like for me, I like to when I'm using this type of strategy where I'm just trying
Mm-hmm.
to catch a scalp basically. I like to
Mm-hmm.
have a fixed TP stop loss. That way, I can use proper risk, right? Because the thing is, if you don't have if you try to mess around with it and you try to just keep adjust your stop loss or anything like that, it's not going
Mm-hmm.
to keep it out long term. Because if you keep doing that and you keep moving your stop loss like too wide or you move too close, then you might get stopped out too early if you end up trailing it. So like for me, I would
Gotcha.
rather just lock in that profit and then just move on to the next day and do it again.
Next, gotcha. Yeah, if I could catch this, like Josh said yesterday, if I could catch this every day,
Oh
10
man,
minutes, 10, 15 minutes, I go smoke a cigarette myself.
exactly. It's nice. It's nice because it happens like every day, like literally every day.
Right.
It's the same move pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to really worry about it. You just take the trade and then you just go on with your day pretty much. Do whatever you
Yeah,
got to do, and then that's that.
yeah. That's great. So shout out to Kyle for coming up with this because I was I was looking for something to trade in the Asian because I'm pretty much up at that time before I head into work, like 1 o'clock in the morning. So to catch that and then have a break in between and then go into New York, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Because I've been looking for, aside from the scalping strategy does work during Asia session, but I needed to find something that was like for sure, like where I'm like, I know what to look out for. Because with scalping, it kind of sucks if you have to watch the chart all Asia session and you don't
Right,
catch nothing. But for this,
right.
like you're actually looking for something specific, like the signal, and then you already know to take the trade pretty
So
much.
right. So this is great. This
Yeah, I
is
know for
definitely
sure.
great.
I'm gonna try to take this today. Actually, let me turn on my signals. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that I get.
Oh, can you show me how to
Oh, the alerts.
do? Yeah, because I'm having a little issue with mine for some strange reason.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, you wanted to set an alert for US 30 or for something
For Nas, I want to set it
for
for
NOS?
Nas.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just show you an example for NOS. So like for NOS, basically when you want to set the alert, what kind of alert do you want to set? Do you want it for the momentum signal or is it for the
I want it for the momentum signal so that when it pops up, it keeps popping up. At least I know that if I get it on my phone, I could jump onto my phone, look at it real quick. Okay, you know what? I could either make a quick decision to take the trade or not to trade.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I'll show you different examples. So for one, if you just want to set for like these vertical, momentum signals, then
Mm-hmm.
you just click on alert right here. You click on this condition right here. You change it to the K2TS, which is the
Mm-hmm.
momentum indicator.
Mm-hmm.
And then I change this right here to signal fired, not to buy or sell, so that
Okay.
I get signals in both directions. So that's how I set it up for the momentum indicator. And for me, I don't. Some people do once per bar if they want to have like a bunch of alerts, but I want to know when it actually closes because I want to know when it's like a for sure signal. Because like you
Mm-hmm.
can have a signal like every candle, right? And it doesn't mean it's going to close. So if it doesn't close, you're gonna get like 10 signals. You're gonna be like, damn, I don't know which one's like what's the
Right.
right one or not. So for me, I put once per bar close. That way, it's only gonna give me an alert if it closes. So if it closes as a valid signal or a signal that's on the chart, it'll give me an alert.
Okay. So not you know what? For some strange reason, it's not letting me do it on the FXCM. So maybe if I switch to Owanda, it'll let me do it. Because I was trying to do it based, just like how you were doing it just now, and it would not let me do it.
Oh gosh,
So
make sure that you have the indicator on your chart because it's got to be on your
yeah,
chart. Oh, it's
no,
on it.
it's up. It's up. Yeah, it's up there. I
Oh,
have
that's
it up
weird.
there. Yeah, for some strange reason it wasn't yeah, my condition it
Oh, you couldn't
is
change it.
yeah, I can't even get the drop down menu for that for some strange reason. It's
Oh,
not
that's
even
weird.
allowing me to doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's probably because the since it's not on the actual trading view, you probably did you enter the FXCM on your phone? That's probably why that pair.
Hmm.
Because I've noticed that some people they add some pairs to their watch list from their phone, and
Hmm.
then it doesn't show up on the actual app, which is weird. I don't know why that happens.
I'm actually on my laptop. Like we're doing a Zoom call on. I'm doing it through my phone, but I'm actually on my laptop. Trying to do it, and for some strange reason, it will not allow me to create an alert at all.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm
weird.
like, I'm going crazy with it. So now I have to actually keep looking at my laptop, or what I'm saying, to see when look at the time, then go to my laptop and like, okay, it's that time. So I gotta sit there.
Exactly. Yeah. So you should probably just pull up Oanda then, because I think Oanda is better than FXCM. I used to use FXCM when I first started trading, and I
Hmm.
noticed that it gave a lot of false signals, like a ton.
Gotcha.
Uh, and it would give like more signals. Like it was cool. I liked it because it was giving more signals, but then I realized it was giving a lot of fake like false signals. Because I
Right.
would I would match it up with Oanda. I think the order of um, of best data would be forex.com. That's number
Hmm.
one. They got the most accurate data. And then next is currency.com for indices, if you could find it. Not all of them have it. And then the third
Right.
one is going to be Oanda. I wouldn't use FXCM. I used them a long time ago and I took a lot of L's with them. So I still use them.
Got you. Got you. Yeah. So all right, cool. I'm gonna switch to Wanda, and hopefully it works for me. If it doesn't, then I gotta I gotta figure it out, because I want them alerts to come to my laptop, to my phone, so I don't have to keep you know sitting on the sitting on TradingView all day having to look.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, exactly. Yeah, and if you want to, so like that's to set the alert for the momentum signals. If you want it for
Hmm.
the pivots, like if you're scalping, because
Hmm.
sometimes you want to do that, you can do the same thing. Just click on alert and then change that to the pit. You'll change it to Nasdaq for condition, and
Hmm.
then you'll put crossing below that for the drop down. You'll change that to the pivot, and then you can pick what level you want, level 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Got you. What do you normally put it for on the level?
I usually put 1 because if price is like up here,
Hmm.
like you see prices like above, I want it to like come down. When it touches the green, I want it to let me know because then at
Right
that point
away.
there might be a structure at that point.
Got you. Okay, cool. I'm glad you showing me that. So
Yeah, it's pretty
let's
simple. I
go.
mean, it's confusing at first, but once you actually you know how to do it, it's pretty much the same thing for every. It doesn't matter like which indicator you want to turn it on for. You can always just change it up because you could even do it for the zones too if you wanted to.
Hmm.
So if you just have like your zone like marked up there, you can just like right click on it and then you can set
Hmm.
an alert for uh for it to notify you. Or actually, I don't know if you can do it. I knew you could do it before, but I don't know if you can do it anymore. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it's not letting us set it up. So that, yeah, I guess you can't set alerts on the zones anymore. But if you really wanted to, you can just like draw a line, like a horizontal line or something where the zone is at,
Right.
and then you can set the alert on there.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's all the questions I got, man. I appreciate you for taking the time out to explain it to me and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely, bro. No problem, man. I'm excited, bro. I want to see you hit those profits like everyone else.
Yeah, man. I want to start dropping them
Drop,
pictures in
drop,
the
drop
chat,
those
man.
profits. Yeah, you gotta add that to the
Yeah,
list.
definitely. But like I said, man, thank you. I appreciate it, man, so much.
Yeah, definitely, bro. No problem. Yeah, if you have any other questions, just reach out. And if you want to hop on for another session, like you have something more specific, we could do it again.
Right.
It doesn't
All
matter.
right, man. All
whenever
right,
that
cool,
comes
man. I
up.
appreciate it. So I'm about to sit here and wait for this Asian,
Agent session.
yeah, catch
Yeah, me
this and see
too.
if I can catch it.
Jack, I'm about to do the same thing. All right,
Cool,
bro. So
cool.
I'll
All
catch
right,
you
man.
later.
Yeah, man. Cool.
All right, man. Definitely.